everyone, and welcome to the deep dive. We're diving into something pretty cool today, data analytics with Excel.
That's right.
And you're here because you want to get, every bit of insight out of your data. And I gotta say, getting ready for this deep dive, it's amazing what Excel can actually do.
It really is. It's like this hidden superpower that's been there all along.
It's like finding out that your old calculator can also predict the weather or something.
Exactly.
So much more than just basic spreadsheets and formulas. We're talking about uncovering hidden trends, dashboards, all this data-driven stuff,
Yeah.
right?
We're going to make you a data pro just using Excel.
Okay, I love it. So you sent over a ton of material, and it is really eye-opening. I mean, honestly, where do we even begin with this hidden world of Excel analytics?
Well, I think the key is to understand that Excel can actually work like a database.
Okay.
We can import, clean, connect, and then analyze data in ways that most people don't realize are even possible.
That sounds really intriguing, but also kind of intimidating. Can you break it down for us? Like, what's the first step in making Excel, our data analysis sidekick?
Sure. So the first step is taming what I like to call the data beast with Power Query.
Okay.
Think of it like your data concierge.
Hmm.
It gathers information from all over CSV files, databases, you name it, even websites.
So it's like a universal data importer.
It is.
Okay. But a lot of times, the data that I have is messy. Like the formatting's all over the place, there's duplicates, missing entries. I mean, that's what usually slows me down the most.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of Power Query. It not only imports the data, but it also cleans it up. So you can remove those duplicates, fix the formats, filter out the stuff you don't need without changing the original source.
So wait, I can tell it to say merge columns or replace errors with specific values or even group the data based on certain criteria, and it just does it automatically.
Exactly. And here's the magic. It's refreshable. So let's say your source data updates, new sales figures, updated contact list, whatever it is, you hit refresh in Excel, and Power Query reapplies all those cleaning steps to the new data.
Oh my God.
No more manual cleanup.
That's a game changer. I'm suddenly seeing like hours of my life coming back to me. Okay, but let's say we've got our clean data now. What then? Do we just start making a million different spreadsheets to analyze it?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
That's where data modeling comes in. Think of it like building a map of how all your data relates. So instead of having all these separate spreadsheets, we're going to create a structure where different data sets actually connect to each other.
Okay, so if I'm understanding this right, we're creating like relationships between these different sets of data, like connecting a customer list with their order history, or maybe linking that to product information.
Exactly. You got it. And once you have that connected structure, you can start to ask questions that span across all your data sets. Like, what are the buying habits of customers in a specific region? Or which products are frequently bought together? This interconnected approach unlocks a much deeper level of analysis than just looking at each data set in isolation.
I see, yeah. I'm seeing the power here, but it still feels a little bit abstract. Can you give me like a real world example of how this data modeling actually works in practice?
Sure. Let's say you're managing a retail store. You probably have separate spreadsheets for your customer details, your product inventory, your sales transactions, maybe even your employee information. By building a data model, you can actually link all of these tables together based on common fields, things like customer ID, product ID, employee ID, just like you would in a database.
Oh, I see. Okay, so instead of having like four separate spreadsheets, I now have this interconnected system. So I could see, for example, which employee made the most sales of a specific product to a certain customer demographic.
Exactly. It's about moving beyond those flat spreadsheets to a more relational way of thinking about your data. And this is really what lays the foundation for the real magic of Excel analytics, which is being able to summarize and visualize this connected information.
Okay. All right, so we've tamed the data with Power Query and we've built a relational model. What's next in our Excel data analysis adventure? Like, how do we actually start making sense of it all?
That's where we bring in the heavy hitters, pivot tables and pivot charts.
Okay.
These are the tools that'll help you unlock the tree insights that are hiding within your data.
Pivot tables. I've heard the name, but I'll admit they've always intimidated me a little bit.
Yeah, they have a bit of a reputation, but trust me, once you understand the basics, they're incredibly intuitive. So imagine you want to see your top-selling products, but you have, thousands of sales transactions. With a pivot table, you simply drag and drop a few fields, and boom, you've got an instant summary showing your best sellers. No more manually sorting through endless rows.
Okay. That sounds much less intimidating than I imagined. So instead of like manually creating summaries and charts from my spreadsheet data, I can use a pivot table to dynamically analyze and summarize the information based on any criteria I choose.
Exactly. You can group data, apply filters, perform calculations all within the pivot table. And if your underlying data changes, guess what? The pivot table updates automatically.
Wow.
It's like having this dynamic report that adjusts as your data evolves.
That's incredibly powerful. And what about pivot charts? Are those just visual representations of those pivot
You
tables?
got it. Pivot charts take that summarized data from your pivot table and transform it into charts and graphs.
Okay.
Makes it easier to spot trends, compare performance, or just make your findings more visually appealing, for a presentation.
So if I'm understanding correctly, I could use a pivot chart to instantly visualize things like sales trends over time or comparisons of product performance across different regions or even the demographics of my customer base, all without manually creating charts from scratch.
Exactly. Pivot charts are incredibly versatile and dynamic. They're ideal for exploring and presenting your data insights in a clear and compelling way. But then there's another layer to this.
Okay.
What if we want to take these visuals and kind of create a central hub for monitoring all the key metrics? That's where dashboards come in.
Dashboards. Oh, okay. Those sound pretty high tech. What are we talking about here?
Think of dashboards as interactive summaries of your most important data points. So we're combining the power of our data model, our pivot tables, our pivot charts, to create this single dynamic view of what's happening.
So it's like building a custom control panel for my data where I can see all the key metrics at a glance.
Precisely. Let's say you're tracking website traffic. A well-designed dashboard could show you things like total visits, page views, bounce rates, top-performing pages all in one place, and updating in real time. We could even add interactive elements like slicers and timelines to filter the data on the fly.
Wait, hold on. We can make these dashboards interactive. So I could like click on a specific region and see how the website traffic changes or use a timeline to analyze trends over different periods. And it's all within this one dashboard view.
Exactly. Imagine having this live, dynamic view of your data that allows you to explore different perspectives and drill down into the details with just a few clicks.
Okay, I'm starting to see why you're so enthusiastic about Excel for data analysis,
Mm.
Power Query, data models, pivot tables, dashboards. It's way more than just spreadsheets.
It truly is, and we haven't even touched on the more advanced capabilities yet.
All right. Well, I'm already feeling like I've unlocked a whole new level of Excel knowledge,
Good.
and I bet our listener is too. But before we go any further, I think it would be good to take a moment to just let this all sink in. We'll be back soon to explore even more ways to harness these powerful tools and uncover those hidden insights. Welcome back to the deep dive. I'm still kind of wrapping my head around all that Excel data analysis power we just talked about.
It is pretty amazing.
It really is. It's like finding out that your old bicycle can actually fly or something.
It is.
But I think it'd be really helpful for our listener, to see some real world examples of how people are using Excel for data analysis to solve problems and find opportunities. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we could spend hours talking about the possibilities,
Right.
across different fields.
Right.
But let's start with something that I think is pretty universally relatable: personal finances.
Oh, perfect. Personal finances. I think a lot of people struggle with managing their money, myself included. It's so easy to lose track of where it all goes. Right.
It really is.
Right.
And that's where Excel can become like your personal finance guru.
Okay.
Imagine, using Power Query to import your bank statements, your credit card transactions, even your investment data directly into Excel.
So no more manually entering every single transaction.
Exactly.
Oh, that's a huge time saver already.
It is.
Okay, so then what?
Then with just a few clicks, you can categorize all your spending: groceries, entertainment, bills, whatever categories work for you. And boom, you've got this clear picture of where your money's going each month.
That's so much better than trying to decipher those tiny bank statements or just relying on guesswork.
Oh, yeah.
But seeing where my money goes, that's just the first step. How can Excel actually help me improve my financial habits?
Well, that's where pivot tables become your best friend.
Okay.
You can instantly summarize your spending, by category, by month, even by specific vendors.
Right.
Like, let's say you want to see if you're overspending on eating out.
Yeah.
You just drag, drop, there's your answer.
Oh, wow. That's powerful. So I can identify areas where I can cut back or maybe set, more realistic budget goals based on my actual spending pattern.
Exactly.
Like, great.
You could even use Excel to track your progress,
Yeah.
toward financial goals, like saving for a down payment or paying off debt. And then you could visualize all that progress with charts.
It's like having a personalized financial dashboard right at your fingertips.
It is.
Oh, I love it. Okay, I'm convinced. Excel for personal finance. Definitely adding that to my to-do list.
It's a good one.
But what about, applications beyond personal use? How are businesses leveraging these techniques?
Let's imagine you're running an online store, right? You've got data coming in from all directions.
Yeah.
Website traffic, sales transactions, customer reviews, marketing campaign results. It can be overwhelming
It can be, yeah.
to make sense of it all.
It sounds like the perfect scenario for those data modeling skills that we talked about.
It is. By connecting those different data sets, customer information with purchase history, website behavior with marketing campaigns, you can really start to uncover some valuable insights.
So I could see which marketing campaigns are driving the most sales, identify my most valuable customer segments, maybe even spot trends in product popularity.
Exactly. And then with pivot tables, you can summarize that information in countless ways. Want to see your top-selling products by region? No problem. Curious about customer demographics and their purchasing habits? A few clicks, and you've got the answer.
So it sounds like Excel can empower businesses to make, data-driven decisions rather than just relying on intuition or guesswork.
Right, exactly.
I love it.
And remember those interactive dashboards that we talked about?
Yeah.
Imagine having a live view of your key business metrics. So sales trends, inventory levels, customer satisfaction, all updating in real time.
Wow.
It's like a mission control for your business, all within Excel.
That's incredible. Okay, I'm starting to see how these techniques can really apply to any field where data is being collected. But what if you're, working with massive amounts of data? Can Excel handle that?
That's where we step into the realm of Power Pivot and DAX, the tools for heavy-duty data analysis.
Okay, Power Pivot and DAX, those sound pretty intense.
They are?
What makes them different from the tools that we've already discussed?
Well, think of Power Pivot as Excel's turbocharged engine for data analysis. It's designed to handle those huge data sets, millions of rows,
Right.
and build complex data models with ease. And then DAX, which stands for Data Analysis Expressions Language, lets you create custom calculations and metrics that go way beyond basic Excel formulas.
So if I'm dealing with a truly massive data set, or I need to perform some really sophisticated analysis, these are the tools to use.
They are. Let's say you're an analyst at a healthcare company. You've got, patient records, treatment data, insurance information, mountains of data.
Right.
Power Pivot can handle combining and organizing all that data, while DAX allows you to do, things like calculate patient risk assessments, compare treatment effectiveness, even predict healthcare costs.
Wow. That's incredible. I'm starting to see how Excel can be used for everything from personal budgeting to analyzing complex healthcare data. But this is all still about analyzing, existing data, right? What if I need to collect new data for my analysis?
Well, while Excel isn't primarily a data collection tool,
Right.
it can actually be surprisingly handy for creating simple surveys and forms.
Probably never knew that.
Yeah, you can use form controls to build basic surveys, distribute them via email or a shared link, and then, of course, analyze the results using all those techniques we've talked about.
That's a great tip. I can see how that would be useful for things like customer feedback surveys,
Yeah.
employee satisfaction polls, or even just, quick market research. But as we wrap up this section, I want to make sure our listener understands that Excel is just a tool, right?
It is.
It's the insights and the actions that really matter.
Absolutely.
So it's not just about mastering those technical skills. It's about being curious, asking the right questions, thinking critically about what the data is telling us.
It's true.
Right.
That's what separates data crunching from true data analysis, the ability to actually interpret that information and use it to make a difference.
Exactly. Well, I think our listeners is well on their way to becoming a data analysis ninja. We've covered a lot of ground, from personal finance to business intelligence and even healthcare applications.
Yeah.
But there's one final frontier we need to explore, the future of Excel data analysis. And we'll do just that when we return for the final part of our deep dive.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We've journeyed from, simple spreadsheets to data modeling, pivot tables, even touched on the power of Power Pivot and DAX.
Yeah, it's been quite the adventure, through this hidden world of Excel data analysis.
It really has. But before we wrap up, I want to make sure our listener is equipped to take all this knowledge and actually apply it.
Hmm.
What would you say to someone who's thinking, okay, I'm convinced, but where do I even begin?
Well, first off, I'd say, take a deep breath and don't be intimidated.
Yeah,
Excel has a reputation for complexity, but these tools that we've been discussing, they're designed for accessibility. That's a great point. And there are so many resources available now to help people along the way.
oh, tons. Microsoft's website is packed with tutorials and documentation. There's countless online communities, YouTube channels, blogs, all dedicated to Excel. You're definitely not alone on this journey.
So diving in and experimenting is key, right?
Exactly. That's the beauty of Excel. You can learn by doing. So start with a small project, maybe analyze your personal budget or track data for a hobby, something fun. The more you just play around with it, the more comfortable you'll become.
And it's okay to start small, right? No need to try and master everything at once.
Oh, absolutely not. Begin with the basics. Importing data, cleaning it up with Power Query, creating those simple pivot tables. As you gain confidence, you can gradually, add those more advanced techniques to your repertoire.
And remember, it's a journey, not a race.
It is.
It's okay to make mistakes along the way. I mean, that's how we learn and grow.
Absolutely. Don't be afraid to experiment, break things, try different approaches. The undo button is your friend.
Yeah.
You can always start over if needed.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And most importantly, have fun with it. I mean, data analysis shouldn't feel like a chore. It's about uncovering those hidden insights and making data work for you.
That's it. Data is everywhere. And with Excel, you have the power to unlock those secrets.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of Excel data analysis, I want to leave our listener with a final thought.
Okay, I'm all ears.
We've talked about all the amazing things you can do with Excel, but the true power comes from, taking action.
Mm-hmm.
It's not enough to just analyze the data. You need to use those insights to make a difference, right?
So true. Knowledge without action is like a car without an engine. It might look impressive, but it's not going to get you very far.
Exactly. So to our listener, I say this, don't let this knowledge just sit there. Apply it to your own life, your work, your passions. Experiment, explore, and see what you can discover.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Go forth and analyze.
I love it. And with that, we've reached the end of our Excel data analysis adventure. I hope you're feeling empowered and inspired to unlock the hidden superpowers of this incredible tool.
It's been a pleasure diving deep with you. Until next time.
Happy analyzing.